So let's get all into this. I don't like wasting any time. I am Goddess Raven, and this is the Goddess Raven Show. And all I got is a little bit of tea that I want you to sip with me. Alec Baldwin fired a prop gun that has taken the life of one of the crew members, and he's fully cooperating with the investigation. Actor Alec Baldwin fatally shot a cinematographer and injured a director also on a film set in New Mexico on Thursday after discharging a prompt firearm, officials say. The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office received a 911 call reporting a shooting on the set of the Western Russ, according to a news release. The cinematographer, I don't want to name her name, except for I'll just give last name Hutchins, 42, was pronounced dead at the University of New Mexico Hospital after being transported via helicopter. The director, Souza, 48, was transported by ambulance to another medical center. So it's not just the cinematographer who lost her life, but he also injured a director as well. Ooh. Baldwin, who's 63, said in a pair of tweets sent Friday morning, "There are no words to convey my shock and sadness regarding the tragic accident that took the life of Hutchins, a wife, mother, and deeply admired colleague of ours." He continued, I'm fully cooperating with the police investigation to address how this tragedy occurred, and I am in touch with her husband, offering my support to him and his family. My heart is broken for her husband, their son, and all who knew and loved her. Russ actress Frances Fisher tweeted Friday morning, that Souza had been released from the hospital. The sheriff's office stated that the investigation remains open and active. No charges have been filed in regard to the incident, the office said. Witnesses continue to be interviewed by detectives. The incident occurred at a Bonanza Creek Ranch, a popular filming location near Santa Fe, New Mexico. Baldwin discharged the prop firearm while in character, authorities said. We know they were either preparing to film a particular scene or in process of filming a scene, and that's when Mr. Baldwin discharged the firearm. A spokesman for the sheriff's office said. Juan said detectives are investigating how many prop firearms were on the set, how they were handled, and what projectiles were discharged. The sheriff's office expects to have more information earlier next week. Firearm experts, writers, and producers have wondered out loud how the incident on Russ set occurred. While some producers insist on using prop guns with blanks to closely capture the sound and look of a real gun firing, others have been calling for them to be banished from sets, saying that computer-generated images offer a safer alternative. And I agree. There's no reason to have guns loaded with blanks or anything on set anymore. This is what director Craig Zobel is saying. Who credits include the 2020 film The Hunt and HBO Mayor of Easttown. It just should be fully outlawed at this point. There's computers now. There's better CGI now that we do not have to use these methods. And I agree. I believe from the time that incident happened with the crow, this should have been outlawed. And because of that, even the Brandon Lee, son of famous martial artist Bruce Lee's family, is now speaking out. A regular bullet is composed of a cartridge that's made up of a shell holding a projectile powder. When a normal gun is fired, the projectile is ignited Propellant. Oh my gosh, Jesus. Ugh. And the bullet attached to the front of the shell is ignited. The blanks used in prop guns generally have a material such as paper, cotton, or wax attached to the front of the shell, inserted to hold in the gunpowder. I just honestly at this point, it just should not be used. So Rush was set to film on location in October and November, according to a news release from the New Mexico Film Office. The movie follows a 13-year-old boy and his younger brother in the 1880s, Kansas, who are left to care for themselves following their parents' deaths. The boys go on to run with their estranged grandfather, played by Baldwin, after the 13-year-old is sentenced to death for accidentally killing a local rancher. Jeez. So this already involves a 13, which the number 13 of all numbers, the child is 13 years old. Okay, I have some superstitions here. The child is 13 and that child accidentally kills a rancher. And look at this. The grandfather, played by accidentally, Alec Baldwin accidentally kills the cinematographer and also injures the director on this movie. I don't know about y'all, but honestly, the number 13, using prop guns still, it just seems like this was destined to have a mess up. But let's get into the rest of this, okay? Because now the family of Hollywood star Brandon Lee, who died while making The Crow in 1993, said no one should ever be killed by a gun on a film set after Alec Baldwin's tragedy has happened. Okay, this should not be happening. The late actor Brandon Lee's relatives took to Twitter on Thursday to comment on the tragedy on the set of the Alec Baldwin film Russ, which saw the star kill a cinematographer, Hutchins, okay, when a prop gun discharged. The horrendous accident, which happened on the film set in New Mexico and also injured another director, comes 28 years after Brandon was killed on set of The Crow in a grimly similar circumstances. A tweet from an account run by Lee's sister, Sharon Lee, daughter of Bruce Lee. Our hearts go out to the family of Hutchins, okay, and to Joel, and all involved in the incident on Russ. No one should ever be killed by a gun on a film set, period. Lee, the son of martial arts icon Bruce Lee, died at the age of 28 on March 31st, 1993, while filming in North Carolina. He was fatally hit with a 44 caliber slug after an actor fired a prop gun at him that was thought to have been loaded with blanks. Now, you would think at this point Hollywood would learn their lessons, but they are still, a stickler for certain things, and they're still using these prop guns when they shouldn't be using them at all. Brandon was a rising star before one of the most tragic deaths in Hollywood history cut his life short. In the scene, Lee's character walks into his apartment and discovers his fiancée being beaten and assaulted before a thug fires a Smith & Wesson model 629 44 Magnum revolver at Lee's character. In the shooting of an earlier scene, the prop gun, which was a real Smith & Wesson revolver, had been loaded with Jesus. Like I'm telling you, Brandon Lee was hot. He was hot. His star was rising. And I tell you, it was I don't know, it was like a cloud of depression and a dark cloud over Hollywood. A long time when this man lost his life. I mean, it shook everybody. I mean, the movie is today, it's still considered a cult classic. And every Halloween, I do watch, the whole series. I do. So, in the shooting of an earlier scene, the prop gun, which was a real Smith and Wesson revolver, had been loaded improperly, crafted dummy rounds. The cartridge, which had the powder charges removed so that in close ups, the revolver appeared loaded with normal ammunition. The crew failed to remove the primer from the cartridge. And at some point prior to the fatal incident, one of the rounds was fired. Although there was no powder cartridge, the energy from the ignited primer was able to separate the bullet from the casing and push it up into the gun barrel where it got lodged, known as a squib load. In the fatal scene, the gun was to be fired from 12 feet away with dummy cartridge. What is that cartridge? Cartridges being replaced by blanks containing powder and primer, but no bullets. But the gun was not properly checked and cleared before the blank was fired by the actor playing the thug, and the 44 bullet lodged inside the weapon was discharged and struck Lee in the abdomen. After 6 hours of unsuccessful emergency surgery, Lee succumbed to his injuries at the New Hanover Regional Medical Center in Wilmington, North Carolina, at just the age of 28. In Thursday's tragedy at the Bonanza Creek Ranch, Santa Fe County Sheriff officials confirmed the death of the cinematographer, who was 42 years old, who had been taken to the University of New Mexico Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. The director remains in treatment at the Christos St. Vincent Regional Medical Center. Baldwin, 68, was seen crying outside the sheriff's office, according to Santa Fe, New Mexico sheriff's official who spoke out. This is a absolute tragedy. It really is. I think at this point, if they don't outlaw, I think at this point, with the death and injury of two people on a set and loss of a potential megastar, you know, I think they should outlaw this at this point. It should be outlawed. There should be no real guns, real bullets, real nothing on sets anymore. I think we should just do away with it. Hollywood, do away with it at this point, please. Like honestly, let's not have any more people tragedy. Let's not have anybody else die from this. Like, this is ridiculous. Y'all comment below and tell me what y'all think. All right. All right.